got interested in reading blogs after 9/11, started his own blog, figured, hey, look, this is, they're speaking my language, as he says. And so he started his own blog, and he had a couple of readers, relatives, right? And but he's grown from that to 200,000 visitors a day. And that's a phenomenal thing. This is an example of what one person can do and the effect that they can have. I think one of the things I admire about Jim is that he gets attacked by Media Matters, and I think that's worth the award in and of itself. My father and others at AIM have had many battles, and we continue to have many battles with Media Matters, and so I think we all wear that as a badge of honor in the conservative movement, so I really congratulate Jim for that. But I just think that the example that Jim sets and others in the conservative movement, when you can go ahead and just get on your computer and you start writing. If you have seen Gateway Pundit, you can see the wide variety of things that Jim has covered, and Jim's been very busy at this conference already, posting a lot of material. I think this is a true example of what, if my father was still around, how much he would be not only amazed at how the landscape has changed over the last few years, but also I think he would be an admirer of Jim for the courage that he's had, for the ability that he's had to just stand up to the left, stand up to the liberals, expose the media for what they're doing, expose the lies that are out there by the Democrats and other liberals, and I just commend him for that. And with this, I want to ask him to come up and receive the Reed Irvine Award.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here today. Truly, what an honor. As I was introduced, I started blogging in 2004, 2005, right after the election when George Bush won. And I got hooked on blogs before the election. When I first started reading blogs, it was like, I don't know if you've had this experience where you find someone who's just speaking your language. And I knew that's, I felt like I had come home. And so I started my blog. Like was said, I had a twin brother. I still have a twin brother. And a friend of mine who's an engineer, they're the first people who'd read my blog. I'd say, hey, I put up post up. Did you read it today? And so they did. And soon Michelle Malkin and Glenn Reynolds and Lucy Ann and Hot Air started linking to me, and that's the most exciting thing. And you know what's amazing about my story is that it's like anyone in here. It's like we do what we can, and I really have a passion for reporting the truth and reporting a lot of the stories the media misses. And I also have a passion, as I wrote to AIM when they asked me for a couple sentences about myself. I have a passion for democracy and liberty. And I believe today the biggest threat against democracy and liberty in the world is what's happening here in the United States. And so I did change my focus a little bit in the past couple of years. But I want to tell you a story, and I'll close with this. And that is, when I started blogging, I'd write about different movements. When George Bush was president, to me it was exciting. When these people were standing up to the regimes in Lebanon, in Kyrgyzstan, and in the different parts of the Middle East, and saying they didn't want these regimes anymore. The revolution in Lebanon was particularly just so exciting to watch. And the hundreds of thousands of people on the street. Now, these uprisings, I believe, are a lot different than what we're seeing today. I believe these were people-driven uprisings and people with the desire to be free. And at that time when I started my blog, I had started to write about a young man, and his name was Ahmad Batabi. And here's his picture. I just want to show you this. This is a great story. And since I have the microphone, I'm going to tell it. Ahmad was, in 1999, he was in Iran. And we know how brutal that regime can be. We've heard the stories. We saw it again in 2009 when the Green Revolution came. and the people rose up against the regime. It's a brutal regime. Ahmad went out in the streets in 1999, and he held up a bloody T-shirt, and he said to the regime, enough. I believe it was actually a friend of his, the bloody T-shirt. Well, this picture actually got printed on The Economist magazine in Great Britain. And it wasn't his idea. He didn't send it to him. But The Economist saw this powerful image, and they put it on the cover of their magazine. Well, the regime came back to Ahmad, and they said, he blamed him for this. They found him, and they blamed him, and they imprisoned him for standing up for liberty. And that's something I really believe we take for granted in this country. And so I was so impressed with this story. And I followed this man's story for several years. He was imprisoned for several years. He was beaten, and he had a horrible situation. And I would read the reports. He's really hurt. He needs help. Pray for him, and hopefully he'll get out. Well, in 2008, he did get out. He got out of the prison. He was released, and I don't know the particulars, but I do know that he fled to Iraq. And at that time, Iraq was a different country because of the U.S. presence there. And he was able to flee to Iraq. And when he was there, he escaped. And actually, some of the regime were following him, but he was able to escape to the United States. And I thought, wow, is that great? The beacon of hope. And today was the first day I ever got to meet Ahmad. And I'm so impressed with this guy. We all take so much for granted, and I am just filled with, just the passion and the respect and love I have for those individuals who don't have it like us. And so I want to recognize Ahmad today. He's here, and I want him to stand up. And if you want to say a word to him, to Ahmad and to all those people out there who are fighting for freedom. Thank you so much, and thank you, Amy.